Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Jacob Wile here, and welcome to another Stuff and Fluff installment of Disney Debates Live. Tonight, bring out the sunscreen, pack your bags, and bring your poo stick, because we are celebrating the lovable Winnie the Pooh, and various other topics. With these following questions: Who is the best Winnie the Pooh character? Which Disney IP should be the next big water attraction in the style of Splash Mountain? And what Disney film should get a sequel set 30 years after the story? All of these majority of these are inspired by both summertime and the wistful nostalgia instilled in the recently released Christopher Robin. All right, with that out of the way, it's time to meet our competitors. In this corner, it's one who is in tune with his inner stuffed animal, Tiki.
I have a migraine. Yay.
And
I'm doing my best here, folks. I might not be on my A game tonight, but I'm doing my best.
It's fine. And this corner, always playing with a full deck and ready to jump into the game, it's Ace.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good, actually.
And joining me this fine evening is my co-host, he may look like a dragon, but is in reality a giant teddy bear. It's Blue Dragon 5.
Good analogies, Jacob. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Good. Aside from the migraine.
So, all right. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, let's get into a brief explanation for the people playing at home. Well, the way things are going to work is that I'm going to introduce the questions to them, and they're going to give their opening statement. We have to wait just to spice things up, however. A randomizer will determine the order in which whoever go first, and as you can see, it's listed in alphabetical order, and whatever way it goes will be set in stone for the remainder of the match. We also have a coin for when the 3 rounds are over. That way, we will determine if we can call this the Pooh coin.
Oh bother!
And whoever gets heads shall get a point. Whoever gets tails shall Eeyore's tail shall lose.
Now I really wish we had a Pooh coin.
One side's all honey pot, the other side's just the tail.
No, one side would be Pooh's head, but maybe a George Washington, so he'd have the George Washington wig and everything. And then the other side would just be Eeyore's tail.
Somebody get to work photoshopping that.
All right, and just to demonstrate.
Okay. So if someone had called tails, they would have lost a point.
Yep.
Keep track of this, folks, for any predictionists in the comment section.
Okay, but back to the 3 questions. After they give their opening statements, they are each of them give their opening statement. Then they'll go into a round where they fight to the finish and win and get to after which Dragon and I will deliberate, and we will determine the winner. Yeah, does everybody understand the rules? And did I leave anything out?
No.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Of course, the bell sound. Of course, will.
All right.
Your old favorite here.
All right.
You hear that sound? That means Jacob has heard enough.
Yes, that means the round is over. Sorry, Dragon. But yes, I'll signal Dragon to activate R2-D2, and that'll signal everyone else to stop the round.
All right.
All right. Get the randomizer ready.
Ooh.
And Ace, looks like you're going to go first.
All right.
All right. Time for our headlining question. Who is the best Winnie the Pooh character? One for the ages, folks. Now, what we're looking for here is is to give like obviously, well, and basically looking. Why do you think this particular Winnie the Pooh character is the best one? Now, there are many facets to determine which one is the best. But it's up to you to sway us into thinking, okay, maybe because some of us might have a particular bias. In the end, it's up to who has the strongest argument to who is the best character and why. All right, Ace, your opening statement. Okay, your pick.
All right. So I went with Winnie the Pooh.
And Tiki?
I went with Eeyore.
All right. Ace, your opening statement, if you please.
All right. It's fairly simple. Keep it nice and short. Winnie the Pooh is the best Winnie the Pooh character, as even just in it's Winnie the Pooh characters. Why did A.A. Milne choose Winnie the Pooh? It's the best. They're not Eeyore characters. It's as simple as that. Winnie the Pooh is the main character. He has, the story with the honey and all of that. It's as simple as that. Winnie the Pooh is the best character of the Winnie and Pooh IP.
Okay, wow. Wow, you gave me a lot to deconstruct there, Ace, but I'm just going to save that for the actual debate part. Eeyore is the best Winnie the Pooh character because Eeyore, I feel like, is by far the most relatable, the most huggable, and also the most complex out of the Winnie the Pooh characters. All the Winnie the Pooh characters are like designed to be adorable, right? Like we're talking like this is the battle of the cute. But Eeyore's the only one where it's like, I don't want to say he has an edge to him, but he kind of has like, there's literally that dark cloud hanging over him that we all experience. Like we've all been known to be an Eeyore at some point in our lives. Eeyore is such an effective character that, basically the phrase "don't be an Eeyore" or "you're being an Eeyore," it's it's kind of part of the vernacular now. And I guess I'll get into it a little bit, but I have more things to say about Winnie the Pooh. But I feel like Winnie the Pooh, that's the thing, Ace. You kind of already started my my rebuttal for me, because Winnie the Pooh is, at the end of the day, he is just kind of the mascot of the franchise. I feel like there's actually several characters that outclass him when it comes to his own franchise in this IP, because we're talking about a franchise where every single character except maybe Gopher. I'm the only one who really likes Gopher, but every single character is kind of beloved in this franchise. So I think just saying Winnie the Pooh's the best character inherently because he's the main character, I don't know, Ace. There's a little bit of a fallacy in that, which we'll break down. But Eeyore, like I said, Eeyore is he's not the corporate shill that Winnie the Pooh is, but he's at the same time, he's just as huggable, just as lovable, just as memorable.
All right, interesting opening statements, you two. But again, remember, don't be afraid to dig into each other. Remember, the whole goal is to be completely convincing, and if you have to tear the other person to shreds, don't be afraid to.
Knock his stuffing loose.
knock the stuff and fluff loose. So, all right. Okay, so you guys ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I find it funny that you mention lovable and huggable and relatable, because Winnie the Pooh comes from a real life bear. There was a black bear named Winnie that was owned by A.A. Milne's son, Christopher Robin. So there is that relatable, huggable, lovable character right there. It's based off of a real bear from that real family who wrote all of it.
We're not talking about the backstory here. We're talking about a character who can, like, kind of withstand through the ages. And the thing about Winnie the Pooh is, I gotta be honest with you here. Before Christopher Robin, I never really cared all that much about the Winnie the Pooh character. And honestly, even factoring in Christopher Robin, I think it's more kind of like the nostalgia and the Jim Cummings of it all more than it is the actual character. Whereas Eeyore, I feel like everyone from the little kids to the, to the senior citizens can relate to Eeyore. Here's the thing with Winnie the Pooh that I've never really gotten. First of all, his name makes no sense. Ace, I'm not, this isn't even part of the debate. Do you know why he's called a Pooh or what a Pooh is?
That actually I don't.
Well, there you go. His name makes no sense
Honestly,
and
yeah.
opens up a ton of like grade school jokes.
Right? That's the whole reason.
Like
think it's
even
actually-
Dragon, I just want to call this out. Even Dragon was hesitant to use the term poo sticks in the opening. I'm like, come on, man.
I was just told that you have to contextualize it just a smidge more than just random poo stick. All right, it's been years since I've watched all 4 segments concurrently. So
all right. I'm sorry. Forget I said anything.
Mr. Semantics.
But my point is, like, I feel like Winnie the Pooh is oddly like he's kind of the mascot character, and he's not that defined. Like, what exactly is Winnie the Pooh? He's like the bear of very little brains, but like, is he slow? Is that the thing? Is he like kind of like a Mater type character? Whereas Eeyore's depressed, like cut and dry. Everyone has been in a dark place. Everyone has had a cloud hanging over their head. Everyone knows what it's like to be an Eeyore. Everyone has that sort of experience. And for people like me who have to live with live with anxiety and live with certain mental issues like that, Eeyore is an especially powerful character. Eeyore is almost like an avatar of our own feelings. And I feel like that's way more powerful to me personally than Winnie the Pooh. Like I said, Winnie the Pooh is really just kind of like the mascot of the franchise. Yeah, there's the clever backstory that no one actually went to go see in theaters, but throwing a little shade on Goodbye Christopher Robin there. But
Well, it's funny though, because you mentioned backstory and how nobody cares about backstory, but Eeyore has a backstory too. They all do, but when
I didn't
we
say
talk
no one cares about
Pooh's-
backstory. I just said that I don't necessarily think backstory is relevant to the actual character, like the Disney depiction of the character.
Fair. I mean, I would overall disagree with that, but I mean, I know where you're coming from because many feel that way. To me, backstory.
I mean, look at pretty much
Disney-
like every single Disney movie ever made compared to the source material, Ace.
Yeah,
Do you
but
really
then
want
look at
kids reading the Fox and the Hound book? You know how horrific the Fox and the Hound book is?
nah, it's all about the Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Seafoam
God.
green.
Also,
But I
Ace,
mean-
you
Oh,
brought
go
up
ahead.
the honey thing. You brought up the fact that like Pooh's whole thing is the honey. Like, yeah, he's got that thing going for him. Eeyore he's literally losing a part of himself, and that's his whole shtick. And I find that to be such a powerful metaphor that he's literally like he's incomplete. He's an incomplete person, and he's literally like his tail is always falling off. And God damn it. Like, and the fact that his tail has that freaking bow on it, it's like Eeyore is such a tragic character, but at the same time, he's so lovable, and he's like inherently the reason why I say huggable is like, yeah, you're right. Maybe a Pooh stuffed animal is a little bit more physically huggable than a donkey stuffed animal, but you genuinely like Pooh is just an idiot. For the most part, right? Shots fired, all right? I'm just going to get into it. Like, Pooh is just kind of an idiot who's bumbling around and he doesn't even know what to do with his own franchise half the time. Whereas Eeyore is constantly, considerably the person that you love the most, that you want to prop up, that you want to say everything is going to be okay. Winnie the Pooh is a cocky motherfucker. Like, look at his pose there. He's like, I took over Mr. Toad and the Country Bears.
He's just happy. He's just jolly. Can't go wrong.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I think I did surprisingly get affected by Pooh and Christopher Robin, but I really do think that's more nostalgia than anything else. I don't think there's a lot there to break down when it comes to the actual Pooh character. I feel like Eeyore is a more simple character than Pooh is to a certain degree, because I feel like but at the same time I feel like Eeyore is much more defined. You know what Eeyore is about. Like, everyone, you can point to Eeyore and be like, yeah, that's him. Whereas Pooh, it's like, first of all, like I said, we have the issue of what is a Pooh to begin with, which, Ace, you seem to be a historian, but even you don't know that. And
So while you were mentioning it, I did actually look it up. So
okay,
you
regale
can't-
me, Ace, regale me.
Yeah. So in one of A.A. Milne's first books, when we were very young, he wrote a story about Christopher Robin feeding a swan that Christopher Robin named Pooh. He later then combined that name with then Winnie to become Winnie the Pooh. And then in the very first Winnie the Pooh book, he explained it a little further, saying that his arms were so stiff they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week. And whenever a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off. And I think, but I'm not sure, that is why he is called Pooh.
Well, that first of all, that's long-winded, and I'm not even sure in my migraine state I follow what you're saying.
I agree. It is a very interesting history.
All right. I don't know, man. I just, like I said, I feel like Pooh is just like, he's more so the mascot than he is the heart of the franchise. And honestly, I don't even feel like he's the second best character. I think an argument could be made that Eeyore's the best character, Tigger's the second best character. Tigger's certainly the most popular character. Like, if this was the most popular Winnie the Pooh character, it'd be Tigger hands down. And I don't know. I know everyone likes to trash on Piglet, but at least Piglet's got a little bit more defined of a personality. I'm just saying with Pooh, you don't really know what you're getting with Pooh. He's just kind of like this idiot bear running around, just stumbling around, like not knowing what to do half the time. And he's the guy that gets to take over the franchise. He's the guy whose name is on the deed to fucking Country Bear Hall.
It's great. No, people love him.
Okay, I think that round has gone on long enough.
Yeah, I was kind of starting to just repeat my points. So,
Jacob, before you deliberate, I'd like to take a moment briefly to, just in case anyone has not seen in the comments, I just want to say we're have a little bit of a viewing audience with us here tonight. We're very grateful, very appreciative. And if anyone, by all means, provide some color commentary. We have some very astute people in the comment section. As always, we have Demona B. We have people like I've glanced. I don't know if they're still with us here, but we have Space Mountain. We got we have our old friend Monkey. We got a lot of
Monkey. Hey,
Monkey. Good old monkeys in the comments. I have a bunch of people in the comments taking part in this one. Watching. And by all means, folks, tell us who you vote for, why. Give us some color commentary. We'll shout you out. We'll
do you want me to invite Monkey in to be a judge? Like, I know it's kind of last minute, but like, it's up to you guys if he wants to come in. Maybe on the next question, like starting on the next question.
Maybe.
All right. No, don't worry about it, Jacob. If you're, I'm fine with not having it.
Oh, he says his voice isn't even that good anyway.
Right.
Okay.
So we're on.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for being here. And it's actually very interesting to have a viewing audience for a change.
Well, yeah, I feel like this is like a nice kind of opportunity for us because this could be potentially a show that has a lot of viewer interaction. So,
All right.
So,
okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so again, folks, just some color commentary, whatever you want. If you want to, like, kind of, we can maybe shout out some kind of fun, kind of observations about the round, like who people might be leaning towards. It's again, who knows? We get enough volumes, we might put it up to a vote if we're kind of deadlocked on something. Who knows? Especially when we get to the speed round, you never know.
Oh yeah,
so, folks. Just again, all milk. We're in the land of milk, and there, no pun intended, honey. So anything could happen. Anyway,
oh okay, no, the honey's pouring all over the childhood drawing.
Oh, bother. So, Jacob, you were saying, sorry to interrupt you there, a little kind of housekeeping. By all means, go ahead.
That's fine. I mean, like, okay, if I'm going to have, like, my deliberation is that both of you had very strong picks. I mean, I will say that. I mean, I probably would have either gone with Piglet or Tigger myself. But I both really respect your guys' choices. Okay, before I go on, like Dragon, what would you have to say? I mean, honestly, I think Tiki made the stronger arguments towards why Eeyore is better, even if some of them were a bit of a reach.
Right. Well, just to shout something out here, it looks like Space Mountain. He missed the first half of the debate to take with a grain of salt, but he was kind of leaning towards Eeyore from what he heard. I don't know how much of it he heard, but sounds like he was impressed by the Eeyore argument. And for me, my observations of the round are this, put it simply. I think Ace stumbled in the opening. I think Ace stumbled in his opening statement, which gave Tiki an opportunity. And I think Tiki seized that opportunity.
Oh, I was just like, oh my god, there's so many things I could like pick from here.
That's the thing. I felt Ace. I got an inkling what Ace was going for there, and I just felt like Ace he never quite regained his footing after that stumble in the opening statement. He fell into a lot of Tiki's traps. Tiki did kind of get him with a few honey traps, let's call them. Now, I mean, that's the backstory. He fell into the backstory thing, he just fell into the honey pot on the backstory because Tiki's opened it up. It was something that Ace could have easily cast aside. He could have just silly. That's not relevant.
Like, it doesn't matter why he's called Pooh.
But again, he got distracted. He looked it up, said something. Ace, you can't let him get in your head like that. I think that threw you off a lot. And in the case, however, I just want to make sure. Again, I'm not the one making the final judgment here, but here's what I didn't know. So again, I was wowed a lot by Tiki in this round. Specifically, my favorite thing Tiki said was he basically kind of read into the thematicism of the character, where he's missing a part, he's losing a part.
Oh, I was proud of myself because I literally pulled that out of my ass.
Yes, literally. I mean, yes, I was. So I was very impressed with that. However, I want to make it clear, at least in my 2 cents on the matter here, I felt I felt Tiki again. I saw some holes in his argument there that again Ace really could have locked into, but he didn't. Like he's making it too personal with the depression thing. I think that was I don't know. I felt that was like it was a hole that again he's kind of getting off. He got off focus there for a minute, and also the whole Tiki got distracted from one of his own points there. He was about to say, Pooh is like a childlike, something that's more applicable to children, where Eeyore is more applicable to all ages, but he didn't quite finish that point. I think he was getting to that point, but he got distracted getting into it with Ace about the backstory. And then I'm just saying, I think Tiki was almost like 100%, but I felt he made it to like an 80% where he could have, really kind of easily won the round. So I'd say that's where I'm at on Tiki's. Like it wasn't fully there, but he could have been. So right. Both could, gotta get stronger in the next rounds, guys.
Yeah, I honestly heard more against Pooh than I did Eeyore. So this round definitely goes to Tiki.
All right.
Oh sure, give it to the donkey.
Thanks for noticing.
All right.
It's very kind of you to kidnap me.
All right.
All right, this next round should also prove to be a pretty interesting one. All right, which Disney IP should be the next major water attraction? And in here, I want to not just hear like the actual movie itself, and just like why it would translate to a ride. Well, probably that's pretty much it. I want to see like not just why it would work well into a ride, but like give me a rough idea on what the ride is. Like imagine this: I'm going through Disney World or Disneyland, and it's extremely hot.
Technically in Disneyland Paris, is that okay?
Well, sure.
Okay.
Kind of killing his phrasing here, Tiki. Go on.
I just want to make sure it's okay.
All right.
I guess it doesn't really matter as long as it like differs from the pre-existing ride or attraction. But what I was saying, like, imagine this: I'm walking through Disneyland and Disneyland or Disney World, and I'm going through one of the water parks, and it's like looking for a water-based attraction because it's extremely hot, and I want to find a new way to beat the heat. And I've already been on Splash Mountain or any other rides numerous times until one of you guys tells me about this brand new ride, and one of you gets to sell me on why I should go to this one over the other one. All right, you guys got that?
Yep.
I could be a dick and point out a logical thing about your hypothetical, Jacob. Like,
By the way, remember, Jacob could take points away if you tick him off, so just bear that in mind.
no, I'm just saying, like, the idea of a Disney fan being in a Disney park and not knowing that there's a new attraction kind of tickles me.
No, I mean,
Kind
I'm
of,
saying,
like, isn't that cute sort of way?
you know what I mean is, like, tell me why I should go to this new attraction.
I know what you mean, Jacob. I get what you mean. I'm just
ignore the semantics and stop being
I know. All
stop
right.
being a contrarian. Okay, but all right. Long story short, tell me why I should visit these one of these new attractions. All right, Ace, you're up first.
All right, so I went with Pinocchio for my IP of choice.
And Tiki?
I am going to go with an attraction that I like to call Pooh's Lazy River at Disneyland Paris.
All right.
Just to make sure we get Winnie the Pooh into each of these 3 questions.
All right. Well. All right, guys. Let's go ahead. Ace, your opening statement, if you please.
All right. So in between Be Our Guest and the Pinocchio Village House in Disney World is Enchanted Tales with Belle. Not a strong attraction. Some already over it, considering it's part of New Fantasyland. It looks like it could be one of the first to close for a turnaround. So now, imagine there a mountain attraction that is a true mountain attraction that would be the weenie for that area. You know, there's with New Fantasyland, didn't bring anything like that. So now we'll bring one over there, themed around the entire water scene from within Pinocchio, fighting Monstro and all of that.
That's it?
Yeah, I'll go into it more. Just wanted to
Okay.
get my initial
Okay.
point around.
Okay, sounds good. Tiki,
Once again, I see openings, but
I'm sure you create plenty yourself.
all right, so there's a lot of reasons why I went into Pooh for Disneyland Paris specifically. Oddly enough, Disneyland Paris is one of the few, like, fact check me on this. I'm sure Space can fact check me on this if he's still watching. I believe that Disneyland Paris is the only or one of the few Disney parks that does not have a Pooh attraction, which is shocking considering that Pooh originated in Great Britain. And, you know, of course, Disneyland Paris used to be Euro Disneyland, so it's very much in that proximity. Importantly, though, I feel like Pooh is a perfect stepping stone mountain attraction where what we're looking at is we're looking at an attraction that is, it's still going to have thrilling elements to it. I would say maybe like a 30-foot drop that's not as steep as Splash Mountain's 50-foot drop. So what I'm basically saying here is this is essentially going to be the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train of water rides, where if the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is essentially like one step, you know, kind of like the stepping stones to Big Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain, this is going to be the stepping stones to Splash Mountain, essentially. And I just feel like with Pooh, you've got the whole idea of the river mixed in, you know, like with the Pooh Sticks dragon. You know, we've got that. We've got the whole idea of the flood. That's an iconic set piece in Pooh. You know, of course, just the naturalistic 100-acre wood setting. The idea that a river's running through the whole forest is something that could be easily accomplished and add to visual symmetry throughout the attraction. And like I said, just generally speaking, I feel like there's not really, like, honestly, I feel like Splash Mountain for that 50-foot drop alone is one of the more intense of the Disney mountains. And there's not really something that gets kids ready for that 50-foot drop. So I'm saying like a nice, gentle 30-foot, you know, 25 to 30-foot big drop at the end. You know, something kind of in the style of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Something that's not as epic and huge as Splash Mountain, but very nice and very, you know, and very much kind of would add a great kind of in between for Disneyland Paris from the bigger stuff like Big Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain, both of which are two of the more intense versions of their respective attractions. So I feel like this would be a great kind of balance for the park.
Alrighty, guys. I mean, did both of you guys base yours around a mountain? I'm just asking out of curiosity.
Honestly, no. Mine would just kind of be in a lazy river, and there'd be like some drops. Like if anything, it'd be like a hill. I'm picturing kind of like a little hill, not necessarily a mountain.
Because when like both of you guys like mentioned something about a mountain, which really wasn't necessary in the pitch. But both of you guys had very interesting, intriguing picks and ideas, and I can't wait to hear more of them. All right, and remember, don't be afraid to go at each other's throats here.
Right. Ace, you mentioned the weenie, but what the hell is your weenie?
All right, so for the weenie, imagine up on this mountain, it'd be a mini version of Pleasure Island. And so this Pleasure Island facade is this weenie that then brings you down into the docks to then be the loading platform to go onto this attraction. It would be all the light, the colors, the brightness of that Pleasure Island that brings in the people.
All right. Also, you mentioned Enchanted Tales with Belle. Like, I've not been there myself. But first of all, I feel like New Fantasyland already has 2 weenies in the Beast Castle and Seven Dwarfs. Especially Seven Dwarfs. I feel like Seven Dwarfs in particular really is the weenie for that area. It's like it really visually kind of ties the whole thing together. Like you literally have to walk around that mine thing to get around New Fantasyland. So I really don't see where you get off not calling Seven Dwarfs a weenie. Secondly, I just feel like, frankly, Pinocchio is a classic movie. It's not necessarily a lucrative evergreen IP in Disney marketing points of view. Like When You Wish Upon a Star has way more markability on its own than it does to attach to the actual movie. And Monkey can attest to this. Pinocchio's Daring Journey is always the Fantasyland dark ride in that Disneyland corridor with the shortest wait time. And it's a good ride, but it's not popular like the other 3. I mean, of course, Pinocchio, of course, Peter Pan, you've got the hour-long wait. And, you know, Mr. Toad and Snow White, I feel like, are both kind of cult classics now because, you know, now that Snow White's not in Florida. But Pinocchio's just kind of like, it kind of verges on that 10 to 15 minute wait throughout the day. You know, there's never really a point in the day where it gets packed like the other dark rides do. And I feel like that's a testament to the fact that Pinocchio is not necessarily, I mean, frankly, it's a masterpiece of animation, but it's not necessarily even a movie that you want to show your kids, honestly, because there's some dark shit in Pinocchio.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you now. Okay. First, the IP. What is Splash Mountain's IP? Do you want to show your kids that?
Well, certainly not.
Exactly. So while the IP is being used, it's the story that matters and the characters.
Tobacco Road on your little weenie, Ace? Are you gonna have like the cigarette Indians?
Oh yeah, put in everything. No, you're gonna be reasonable with that, right? You talk about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train being the weenie. Yes and no. I mean, for within that area, sure, but compared to the park, I would not consider Seven Dwarfs Mine Train a weenie. It needs more height to it, in my opinion, to be a true weenie for that area. Once you're there, absolutely, I'll 100% agree that it is a weenie once you're in New Fantasyland because you do have to go all the way around it. Yeah, so no,
also,
I wouldn't
clarify, like, like, is Enchanted Tales with Belle, like, this isn't even really part of the debate, but is Enchanted Tales with Belle really all that big? That you could fit a footprint there? Because, I mean, it's really, it's just a storytelling show, right?
Yeah, it is a storytelling show, yep, but there is all the area behind it. It's right on backstage. So you can
wait 1 minute, guys.
Behind it. Yeah.
Can I hear more about your guys' basic ideas for the rides themselves?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I already kind of laid it out. Like, mine would be kind of like this in-between with, you know, it'd be kind of like less intense drops in Splash Mountain, but it'd also be I feel like maybe my idea would follow like the idea of a flood in the 100-Acre Wood, which would justify a lot of the water theming. Of course, you'd have a classic Heffalump and Woozles section. You'd have like basically my ride would be all the fundamentals that you want from a Winnie the Pooh dark ride, but with a modest sized drop at the end, and with a and with the water theme.
Okay.
So mine would be basically an escape from Monstro. You leave the Pleasure Island docks and you're going calmly. You see Pleasure Island in the distance. Suddenly you hit Monstro. The water starts getting rougher. You hit the first small mini drop like you see in Splash Mountain of just narrowly avoiding it. He disappears for a little while. You suddenly hit this large wave, and at the top, boom, there he is. And your big 50-foot Splash Mountain drop is you being eaten by Monstro. That would be, 30-second Reader's Digest version of what I'm picturing here.
I mean, like, my whole thing with you, Ace, is that you're really hanging your hat on one set piece. Like, literally one set piece is your entire ride from beginning to end. So, in that way, you're not even really representing Pinocchio all that properly. You're just like, can you even point to an example where a whole ride is one set piece out of an IP? I mean, maybe Mr. Toad, I guess.
Mine Train.
What?
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. The Mine. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Are you guys getting the same?
Mine.
Are you guys getting the same issue with Ace's audio that I am?
Yes.
Yep.
You
may want to take a break and shout out our sponsors and say hi to the.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
can you hear me?
Keep going.
You're
kind of staticky there for a minute.
How about now?
Oh, my
Sounds fine. Sounds fine.
All right, you were saying.
Continuation.
Yeah. So
Mine Train. Something about Mine Train.
yeah. So you asked, is there any other rides I could think of that are based off of one set piece? Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's based off of the mines.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, you still have like the little tag at the end with the witch. Is there gonna really be a tag at the end with yours?
There'd be the tag at the beginning of Pleasure Island. You're leaving the island to go out to sea, and then there's Monstro. There's your two scenes right there, just like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
All right, I'm having a hard time picturing how Monstro would be physically achieved, because Monstro is such a big character, and with Imagineering you always have to take into account, like, you can write like, yeah, and then a big 50-foot whale pops out, but how are you going to achieve that big 50-foot whale?
All right, so imagine the lift hill of Splash Mountain, like the big lift hill at the end, is just rushing up, like those salmon climbs. So it's going with you up the hill. It emulates that. You hit the crest, and it's pitch black, darkness. And you're going down it, and there's a large Monstro statue, much like the one you see at the Storybook Land Canals in Disneyland. There's a large statue like that. Strobe lights hit it, disco whale. Strobe lights hit it, boom.
You're not even going to do an
mouth.
animatronic?
You'd have to definitely be... You could absolutely do an animatronic, but think of the water. You got to be realistic here. Look at Jurassic Park. The water just destroys. The water just destroys those animatronics.
Yeah, but
those animatronics look rough. Like, we got to be realistic here.
Okay, look, I feel like at the heart of my debate, at the heart of what I'm saying, we don't need another ride in New Fantasyland. We don't need another e-ticket in New Fantasyland. New Fantasyland is freaking fine as it is. As a matter of fact, I have a problem with you removing the bell thing, because I've heard good things about it, and I also think that it's a good kind of lead in to be our guest. But that aside, I feel like Pooh is necessary for Disneyland Paris. You need Pooh in Disneyland Paris. It's a crime that there's not a major Pooh ride in Disneyland Paris. So not only, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where would it go in Disneyland Paris?
You see, I don't freaking know. I'm not putting as much stock in the location as you are.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just, the question isn't like, where would you put it? The question is, like, what would need it? And I don't know. I just feel like Pooh is also a property where it's evergreen. Like I said, like you can put a Pooh ride in every single Disney park. And that's a franchise that it's just like, yeah, it did replace Mr. Toad and it did replace Country Bears, and no one's happy about that. But at the same time, you have something like Pooh's Honey Hunt at Tokyo Disneyland, which is, by all intents and purposes, one of the best Disney attractions ever made. And it kind of set, I feel like that ride also kind of set the groundwork, almost kind of set the new standard for modern Disney dark rides in a way. It was a game changer for the industry. So Pooh is one of those franchises where it's always going to be popular, no matter where you put it. And Disneyland Paris is the perfect place to do it. And not only that, but like I said, I feel like what you're pitching is just another Splash Mountain in terms of the intensity. Mine, I feel like the important distinction would be that it would be that stepping stone. It would be that, like, it's still thrilling enough that it would attract older guests, and it would attract everyone, and there would be that drop at the end, but it would be mild enough that kids would be comfortable with it, that kids wouldn't see it and be like, that looks like something that I can't handle. And I think that's important for the Pooh character. I think that it's also important to keep the Pooh character going through different iterations of rides where if you twist up the Pooh formula, that's where you really get the magic. That's where you get the Pooh's Honey Hunts of the world. And I think this could be another Pooh's Honey Hunt.
So, just a few more things. One, is this going to be an indoor or outdoor one?
Both.
So is it
both? It's like
both?
It's like Splash Mountain.
All right, here's a problem for you with that. Disneyland Paris doesn't have a Splash Mountain. Also doesn't have a Jungle Cruise. Disneyland Paris gets winter. They get ice. They get snow. Is it going to be open year round?
Well, hot damn, Ace. That's something I didn't consider. You got me red-handed there. I mean, if I were to, like, you could easily make it all indoors if you needed to.
All right. And so then the drops. You said there'd be a couple minor ones. Are you thinking Pirates of the Caribbean style?
I mean, yes, but more pronounced.
Okay.
Like as in it means more to the ride and it's built up more into the ride that there are the drops. But yeah, it would be kind of like in terms of size and slope, it would be a pirate style drop. That would be a good comparison, I would say.
How would it fit into the story more, like you mentioned? How would these drops make sense to the story?
Because it's a flood and everything's flooding, and so everything's kind of off balance.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. That was definitely an intense round, guys.
Yeah.
I must say, both of you definitely raised very good arguments. Definitely raised very, very good arguments towards why your rides would be good. I think I think you honestly focus a little bit too much on like the relevancy of the IP, because that's not really important. But what's really important is the ride itself. I mean, sure, the ride is sure the IP is what attracts them, but it wouldn't really sell me. It wouldn't sell anybody on the ride itself. Like somebody could like the IP and not like the ride, if you get what I'm saying.
Or like in the case of Cars Land or Pandora, not like the IP but love the ride.
That too.
Totally. Or Splash Mountain.
Of course.
Okay, I mean, honestly, okay, Dragon, what are you weighing on this? Just keep it and try and keep it brief. Again, try and keep it brief.
Okay. I gotta tell you, I saw a completely different fight than You did, Jacob. I gotta tell you, I was a little underwhelmed by this one.
I mean, I thought it was I thought it was, I don't like I said. I agree with you. I thought it was a strong fight, but the arguments themselves,
yeah.
were kind of weak.
That's what yeah. It's the thing. Basically, on the whole, I think you guys just way too caught up in the placement and the construction. I think that really just kind of started off on the wrong foot. It took a long time for either of you to get into kind of the story and the sell of the ride. I wanted to hear a sell. I felt that just basically, I felt you both had a solid concept. I felt Tiki just recycled an existing ride, which again I was wondering. It made me think: is that the question? Just basically take an existing ride, then turn to like a water theme, or was it just created from scratch? If that's the question, then I'm saying based on the logic, again, it's all in Jacob's discretion. I'm just throwing out from my own logic here. It's like if it's about just creating a ride from scratch, then Pinocchio would get it instantly. But if it's about just kind of which one sounds like the better kind of pitch for a ride, I mean, yes, it's based on an existing ride essentially, and basically just takes the raining element from the other ride and just turns into like, okay, we explain why we're going through the 100-acre woods. I felt there's a lot of opportunity that Tiki really could have capitalized on, but there's a lot of stuff that he didn't do. I think Tiki really undercut himself a lot during the fight with saying he was very contrary to himself. He would say, your ride's just like Splash Mountain. He says, yeah, my ride. It's so the Pooh. He said, Ace is asking, how do you achieve this? Like Splash Mountain.
Pretty much, there's basically a lot of times where you complained about his ride being like Splash Mountain, then you pretty much explained your ride pretty much essentially was Splash Mountain.
I just think this fight was in circles a lot of the place. So I gotta tell you, I'm undecided, but if I had to go with it, I think just the ride sounded the most the more thought out. I think it's Winnie the Pooh, but again, it's just kind of recycling, but it's a solid recycling, I guess. So it's Winnie the Pooh for me. Our audience, by the way, I'm hearing a lot of intrigue on both kind of Pooh and Pinocchio. I'm hearing Monkey mess around with some Pinocchio here, saying, "Oh, but here's the tag. You pass by Geppetto's cottage, and you see them all happy."
Wait, Space Mountain actually did bring up an interesting point.
Okay,
he didn't neither did give an answer as like to why the new guest should experience one over the other.
That is an excellent point.
Wait, go back to Monkey. I want to hear his tag.
Real quick, so the tag is you pass by Geppetto's cottage and you see them all happily dancing inside. Now that Pinocchio is a real boy, and then the coachman is lurking by the door, laughing evilly.
Oh God!
He also proposes a Kuka arm Pooh ride.
Yes. Oh my God, that's.
And again, now this is really big, as I think Jacob was echoing here. Space Mountain. Also, I didn't hear either give an answer to why the new guest should experience one over the other. I know it's pretty much exactly what Jacob said. I just wanted to kind of say it again for posterity's sake. So yes, very good point, Space. So Jacob, what is your final ruling? Who's going to get the chair, so to speak?
This is definitely a tough one. I will say that both of you definitely, Ace definitely did improve over the last round. I will give him that. But I'd say for like as much shade as Ace threw as Ace threw, I think Tiki cut, and though he buckled a couple times, I think he edged out just slightly above Ace.
All right.
I'm kind of surprised at that one.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little surprised too. Now I'm looking at it because Tiki did actually admit. Tiki actually did admit defeat during the round too. It's kind of.
I don't know. I gotta say, if I was a judge, I'd probably rule it for Ace.
Actually, now that I think about it, Ace did, like I said, Ace did improve. So yeah, Ace, you get the point. I'm sorry for
that was like a Moonlight La La Land situation there.
You're right. Okay, so right now it's tied. It's 1-1.
I need a few more moments of deliberation.
All right.
Honestly, the whole monster thing does sound more interesting to me too.
Yeah.
Some wise guy in the comments demanded a recount, and he can't believe it worked. That wise guy knows who he is. I'm not just trying to throw our audience to the side there. I'm saying that we got some clever guys and some guys are a little too clever for their stockings, let's say.
All right.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. I'll try and be more concrete next time.
Okay.
All right. Third and final main question.
I just want to give credit where credit's due here. This one we totally ripped off of Movie Fights.
At Tiki's insistence.
Because
they
movie
dropped
fights
the
have
ball
late
first.
answers, man, and I want to see this one done better.
They dropped the ball.
Okay, time for the third and
You
final.
really want to see a 30 years later sequel to Wall-E? Really? All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jacob.
All right, time for the third and final main round question. In the vein of Christopher Robin, which Disney movie should get a sequel set 30 years after the main story? And now, for your guys' picks, I want you to tell me like how the story would continue and why this would be a good move, be a smart move. And like, you can go into any extraneous details as you deem necessary. All right, Ace, your pick.
I went with Hercules.
All right, and Tiki.
And I went with the sword and the stone.
All right, two very interesting picks. Ace, your opening statement.
All right, so Hercules ended, true Hercules, all that good stuff. There was the time there when Disney made a whole lot of unnecessary, straight to TV, straight to VHS, whatever you want to call it, sequels. Lion King 1.5, Lion King 2, all of that. But now we'll get a
Lion
good.
King 1.5 was one of the good ones.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It was still unnecessary, but it was good. It was a good unnecessary. But yeah, so we get a sequel, a sequel we want. But here's the twist: they do live action. The live action movies, they've been good. We don't get this animated sequel. We get these good live action, real people movies, and we get back that beautiful soundtrack. Just mwah. Hercules, one of the best Disney soundtracks there is. Hercules 2, we'll just get that perfect soundtrack again.
Okay. So Sword in the Stone. The big thing I want to make with Sword in the Stone here is God damn, we need a good King Arthur movie. We really do, because there's been King Arthur movies before, but they've all sucked. And I feel like with the Disney magic, with all the Disney ingredients put into a proper retelling of King Arthur, which of course, Sword in the Stone being King Arthur's formative years, 30 years later, you have proper King Arthur. So what does a Sword in the Stone sequel give you? It gives you an older and more wise Arthur, of course, but you can still kind of make reference to the fact that he used to be called Wart, and he used to be kind of like this nerdy dweeb. You could almost kind of have it be a Captain America type thing where, where at the heart of it, he still is that skinny kid. You could also explore the relationship with his brother Kay, which was a big focal point, a big rivalry in the original film. You could have the wizard stuff with Madame Mim and Merlin. You could have a live action Archimedes, because who doesn't want to see a live action talking owl? And who wants to see a wizard fight in live action glory? I mean, my God, that wizard, the Higgitus Figgitus scene. Who doesn't want to see that in live action? Who doesn't want to see a rematch of that shit? But most importantly, you could have, we could kind of really dive into the King Arthur mythology. We can cast a really compelling Lancelot. We can get into him falling in love with Guinevere. We can kind of retell the Holy Grail storyline, which would be, which would kind of be another legendary King Arthur story in the vein of the Sword in the Stone. I feel like there's so much rich potential for a Sword in the Stone sequel, and it's all right there in the text. And I feel like like I said, there's been some shit King Arthur movies, and Disney would just wipe the floor with them.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, Tiki, is that the end of your statement?
Yeah.
I just need to do some housekeeping here. I need to kind of set some records straight here before we move on. I think it's important. I think we'd be mistaken if we didn't do this, just so I can be absolutely clear. And for the audience, a little shout out to Jacob. Just to understand the precise nature of this question, We are basing this off animated films, correct? I just want to make sure we settle.
The way I understood it is in the style of Christopher Robin, meaning
Yes.
it would be an animated film translated into live action.
Okay, that's it.
And honestly, I mean, I honestly said it didn't matter because it's kind of like also in the vein of the upcoming Mary Poppins Returns.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here. So the understanding is, again, we were picking from animated films, but again, it was all loose. Like you didn't have to make the sequels live action, but both of you have chosen to do it in live action, similar to Christopher Robin being kind of a movie that was pretty much you could ache into a direct sequel to Winnie the Pooh, because it starts off pretty much where the animated movie left off. Am I on the same page with that?
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page here.
I bring this up because again, to give the shout outs here. Simply because I'm hearing a lot of great 30-year later sequels, but again, they're from live-action Disney movies, which are hilarious. So I just wanted to kind of clarify. We were pulling from animated as a starting
Beverly Hills Chihuahua, 30 years later, they're all dead.
I was thinking...
I could go to see that.
And more clever ones like Space Mountain here suggests Honey, I Shrunk the Grandkids. That one cracks me up. We have a monkey saying Song of the South, 1.5, exclamation point.
Nice.
So the Knights Who Say Nye. We have a lot of clever clever little titles. I just want to give like quick shout out to.
Right.
Anyway, okay, yes, going forward, guys. Jacob, back to you.
Okay, you guys both raised your points, and like I want to basically explain why your movie would be more superior than the other one. Like, and to quote what Dragon Energy says, "Sell me a ticket." And like and as I said before, go into any extraneous details that are keyword necessary to your argument.
Necessary for the sell, guys.
All right.
I got too excited there. So you talk about. I'm glad you brought this up. Actually, Tiki, you talk about also going the Holy Grail way. Since Sword in the Stone came out, how many King Arthur, Holy Grail, all those sorts of different movies have we gotten?
Well, you see, that's my
2
point,
dozen?
Ace. That's
3 dozen?
That's
Like,
why I worked that into the opening statement. They're all shit, but they don't have the Disney.
Saturated market? Like, since Hercules, I mean, I'll give you this. Hercules came out a third of the time since Sword in the Stone, but even if we expand that out, it'd be nowhere even near that. There's been maybe 3 Hercules movies since Disney's Hercules came out. Right? The Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson one a couple years ago, then like an early 2000s one maybe. That's what I can think of. There's not.
And to be fair, that's about as many Sword in the Stone movies that have come out in the past, like in the same time frame that Hercules has come out. And I don't really think it's fair that you're gonna say like, yeah, Sword in the Stone is it's a much older movie. So yeah, of course there's and these are both based on iconic, like legendary myths to a certain extent. So of course Sword in the Stone's gonna have more movies based off of it. But I feel like in the same time frame that Hercules and that since Hercules has come out, there's been like 2 King Arthur movies and 2 Hercules movies. There was 1 King Arthur movie in the early 2000s and it sucked, and 1 last year and it sucked.
Yeah, but even then, there's been more King Arthur ones. And if you wanted to go the Holy Grail way,
but like I said, I don't necessarily think it's fair for you to say like there's more King Arthur movies than there are Hercules movies when my movie is so much older. I don't necessarily think that's a fair shot for you to make at me. I think the fair point of comparison would be since Hercules came out, how many have there been? How many have there been in the retail market?
Even since then, there's been lots. There's been, what's the King Arthur one last year?
Like I said, there's 2 I can think of. There's the 2005 Clive Owen King Arthur, and then there's the shit King Arthur one from last year. That's 2.
There's the Transformers one that last night.
Okay, are we really going to count that one?
Why not? It's the exact same story, just Transformers.
No, it's not.
Wait.
Are you fucking serious? It's Transformers. That is not the King Arthur legend. I mean, I haven't seen that movie, but I would like fucking bet money that it is not the King Arthur legend.
Wait, Jacob,
you guys have yet to get into your main arguments yet. Like, remind them why, like 30-year later setting, like.
Okay, yeah, well, okay, the big point, like, why I wanted to do this question specifically, why the movie fights version of this question disappointed me is that I feel like with movie fights, each of them chose characters that don't necessarily age. Like Wally, the fucking robots don't age. And with Hercules, they're gods. 30 years is not going to have a major effect on the passage of time. With Sword in the Stone, you're literally going from a shrimpy little kid who at the end of the movie gets this responsibility bore down on him to him becoming king. That's a built-in time jump that you really want to see the outcome to. With Hercules, there's no real intrigue there. All the characters are going to be more or less the same because they're all fucking immortal.
That's where you're wrong, though. The end of the movie, Hercules decides to remain on Earth with Meg. There's the segue right there to the new way. They don't stay on Olympus. They don't stay with the gods. Here's your pathway right here.
But my point is that Hercules still would not be a character who really, I don't necessarily think the passage of time would affect him. And by all intents and purposes, I feel like his storyline is kind of wrapping up at the end of Hercules, where it's like it'd be more of a check-in with him. It'd be like, oh, gee willikers, I wonder what Hercules is up to in the past 30 years. Whereas my thing, it's pivotal that you see the King Arthur side of the thing. And like I said, yeah, there's been King Arthur movies in the past, but there haven't been King Arthur movies with the Disney magic attached to it. There hasn't been King Arthur movies with $200 million and recognizable characters and, you know, and CG and wizard battles and talking owls and everything
Wizard
like that.
battles, talking owls. I think you're talking about Harry Potter here.
And is that so bad, Ace? Because Harry Potter is a hugely popular franchise. Is that so bad to take inspiration from it? And first of all, talking owls. Okay, well, first of all, Harry Potter doesn't have talking owls. You're setting me up into a trap here. There's no talking owls in Harry Potter. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, sure.
And secondly, wizard battles. I'm taking specifically from the wizard battle in the first movie, which was creative and fun more than it was serious and like, oh, we're at war. And that's how I want the live action one to be. It's essentially like a combative version of the Pink Elephant segment.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like live action wizard battles just feels kind of funny to me.
What, all those different crazy creature designs and morphing effects? It'd be amazing. It'd be a feast for the eyes. But let's not get hung up on just the wizard battle, because like I said, the important thing about Sword in the Stone is like it's a built-in part 1, part 2. Part 1 would be the formative years. Part 2 is something that we need to see. Part 2 is a chapter in Wart's story, and there's built-in drama around that. There's the brother who wanted to be king but didn't get to be king. There's the iconic characters like Lancelot that we could see in a Disney style. You know, there's just so much potential there. There's the Knights of the Round Table, that whole thing. I just feel like there's so much there. There's such a... Whereas Hercules, like I said, I really feel like unless... There's so much dark shit that goes down in the Hercules myth that you really can't adapt from. Like, you know, it's a whole different beast. Like, yeah, there is a part 2 to Hercules' story in the myths, but my God, it goes down a dark road. You really don't want to go there with a Disney movie. Whereas with Sword in the Stone, it's just like it's red-blooded adventure. It's literally what myths are made of, is the King Arthur mythology. You just don't want to have the storyline of a dying Meg, because that's the only thing that would make yours interesting.
Of a dying Meg?
Yes.
That'd be the feels. Oh, could you imagine? No,
but
no,
I had to pitch that for you, Ace. You see, I'm trying to.
You don't go that way. No, come on.
I'm trying to come up with a way to make Hercules interesting, where King Arthur, by its own accord, is inherently interesting. You see, don't go taking credit for the dying Meg thing.
I'm not. That what? No. Who would see that? But you talk about how Sword in the Stone sequel, we need it. It'd be interesting. It's all this. Nobody even talks about the original one. It's, you talk about those.
Okay, I'm glad you bring
Disney
this point
animated
up
classics,
because I feel like
swept
the
under the rug.
original. I feel like the original Sword in the Stone and Hercules are both inherently on a similar popularity level in their own decades, where they were kind of like the weird kind of flop in a string of successes. You know what I mean? And for that reason, I feel like they're very comparable to each other because they're both based on myths. They both didn't do that great at the box office. They both didn't do that great critically. People who grew up with them look back on them fondly. Like, ask anyone who grew up on the 60s, what they think of Sword in the Stone. I'm sure they'll really love it. It's a nostalgic favorite for a lot of baby boomers out there.
It's funny. You mentioned how Hercules didn't do well in the box office, didn't do well, like, critic reception and everything. It did quite well in both, actually.
Okay, well, I'm not sure about box office, but it was mixed at best with critics.
No, Rotten Tomatoes had 85% by critics. I'd consider that pretty good. That's a pretty high reception.
Okay, first of all, can we just not go on the fucking Rotten Tomatoes thing? Like, I'm sick of Rotten Tomatoes. Like, generally speaking, in the Disney Renaissance, I feel like Hercules is the second most mixed reviewed movie after Pocahontas. It's not a beloved classic the same way most of the Disney Renaissance movies are. And I hate pointing at a fucking number to determine that.
They both did comparatively make good money, by the way. They both were, they both financially were successful.
Uh-huh. They both were financially successful, but they both weren't. They also weren't runaway hits like other movies in their respective decades were.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't compete with the Lion King. Can't compete with the Lion King when you're looking at Hercules. What, Frozen's the only one that can compete.
Okay, I feel like, to be fair, I feel like Hercules is more directly competing with Aladdin than it is with Lion King because they're very similar movies in a lot of ways.
Even in that sense, Hercules, it has done well. It stands the test of time. People talk about it still. Aladdin kind of disappeared for a little bit there, came back.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm in California and like the California Adventure Aladdin show was such a big deal when that was on.
The Aladdin show, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't ever remember a time when Aladdin fell out of popularity. And of course, now with Robin Williams, that film's going to be a fucking treasure. Yes, but
it definitely skyrocketed again with all of that.
You could say a diamond in the rough.
And to throw in my 2 cents, I honestly, Aladdin is considered to be more popular than Hercules.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, again, even with that, it depends who you'd ask.
True.
Right?
True.
Like I said, just with the 30 years later thing, I just think inherently all the characters in Sword in the Stone would be affected by the time jump. Whereas literally with Hercules, the only way to make a time jump interesting would be the whole play on like Meg's immortal, Herc is not. Therefore, Meg would be dying and Herc would have to grapple with that. And Ace, you can't take credit for that idea. So, I don't know. I just feel like when you're dealing with literal immortals, 30 years is just kind of a drop in the bucket. When you're dealing with a young man becoming a king, 30 years makes all the difference. Bam.
Okay. Another interesting round.
I gotta say that was a lot of fun, man. We really got at it with each other.
Oh yeah, that was definitely an improvement.
Yes, it was a vast improvement.
Oh yeah. So, honestly, I'd like to see both of these kinds of stories. I mean, and honestly, you did mention the myth of Hercules. But I honestly believe that they have enough myth to draw from, or they could have actually created an interesting sequel in live action without having to draw upon the Meg's death or anything.
Uh-huh.
I mean, considering that she's a relatively young woman, she wouldn't really be dying just yet. But But both of you didn't. But both of you pointed out various strengths and flaws in each other's plans. It's like the oversaturation of both really is a major issue in both of it. Plus the fact that Disney is currently already remaking Sword in the Stone for their streaming service.
Oh,
Really?
God, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yep, they're currently remaking Sword in the Stone.
Well, I don't think that should count towards the debate.
Well, sure. I mean, we didn't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't worry. It was just an interesting bit of trivia.
Oh.
That is interesting.
Is it going to be like a sequel, or is it going to be an adaptation of the original?
As far as I know, it's more like just like a remake in the vein of like what they've been doing lately.
Okay.
As far as I know, they haven't really released much details other than that it's going to the streaming service.
Here's the real question: is Nick Cage in it as the sorcerer?
Oh God! Yes.
As Merlin, is he in it as Merlin? Because I see Nick Cage likes to do that from time to time. He likes to remake Disney movies as.
I'm still mad that his name in Sorcerer's Apprentice wasn't Yensid. That's such a missed opportunity.
You never know. Nick Cage is open to pretty much doing anything these days.
God. Well, like I said, he was in about 2 scenes of Teen Titans Go to the Movies, so that wasn't exactly a star vehicle for him.
Well, maybe that's Nick Cage making a smart choice for a job. All right. My thoughts on
keep your brief. Keep your thoughts.
Right. So again, really solid. You guys kind of surprised me this round. You really did, because again, I was kind of in the same when I heard these ideas. I was kind of thinking of the 30 years later quality of them, and Tiki kind of brought it up, so it's kind of weird. But Tiki brought up with Hercules. Well, I forget I think if Tiki either ushered this or he actually said this. I can't quite recall, but it was the idea that Hercules is. Oh no, Ace defended against this with Tiki. Ace pointed out that he's mortal, and Hercules being mortal in theory means that he can age. And just the fact that Hercules is immortal, saying like is now mortal because he didn't, had the big moment of change in Hercules, and he went the other route. That very interesting point. Again, there are a lot of interesting routes that you could go with Hercules. Unfortunately, I don't feel Ace.
He didn't explore those options, those possibilities well enough.
Like, I'm just saying the simplest comparison I could think of. You have various directions you can go from. Like the whole like a Logan comparison jumps to mind. An aging Hercules, Logan. You could use that as a point of comparison. You like maybe a Samurai Jack. If we go a little darker, if we go with the Greek myth of it all, you have the.
Funny enough, that was actually one of my pitch. That was like Hercules is actually my pick when we did our idea based on Logan. I picked Hercules.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. And
Tiki went with Beauty and the Beast.
And I had all that body horror shit with Lumiere being half human and half candle.
That was a dumb idea. Of course, I heard basically Tiki. Then
my skin, it's melting.
Basically, turn Lumiere into a leper, essentially. So then, of course, Tiki was kind of ushering to a Rocky direction, kind of a Balboa direction with her. Because again, all of these very interesting directions, but Ace didn't really commit to any of these. And again, a lot of potential. And he did roll the whole Diane Meg thing. Again, I'm not sure how to quite perceive that. Again, there's a very interesting dialogue going on there. Sword of the Stone. I didn't hear Ace go for the obvious point with Sword of the Stone. That Sword of the Stone again. It's yet another live action King Arthur movie. He did make that point. Don't get me wrong. He made that point. But I'm saying the whole you guys were again. I guess you respected each other's choice to go live action with it because again, yet another live action King Arthur film instead of doing an animated King Arthur sequel to differentiate it. But the Harry Potter point was a strong point. Again, I think it was a very even, very toe to toe. It was very toe to toe. I'd recommend. I heard more for Sword in the Stone, but I'm intrigued by Hercules, but I heard more for Sword in the Stone. That's the.
Honestly, I'm going by what the question entailed, and honestly, Tiki brought more to the table for the 30 years later plan than Ace did. Exactly,
and our audience, by the way, has made some very astute, hilarious comments. Space is on fire tonight. Space, he made when we're talking about all this Meg death, he says the Meg. Of course, the film that's coming out with Jason Statham and Rainn Wilson.
Shut up, Meg.
For that, And Spaceman also pointed out that I would say Pocahontas is a fair comparison for Hercules. That being said, it's towards the tail of the Disney decade. I'm reading the comment as it states there. But yeah, Pocahontas is quite, it's kind of an interesting Hercules comparison. Maybe not one I agree with, but I see what he's saying there, absolutely. And yes, the Aladdin show is on Broadway right now.
Well, to be fair, it's not exactly the same show that was at California Adventure.
Semantics. Okay, so Jacob, how you feeling this round?
As I said before, like going with like the theme of the question, which is like which should get a 30-year sequel, get a 30-year later sequel. Honestly, like I said, I think Tiki answered it more than Ace did. Though Ace did bring a lot to the table, he just didn't really say like how the idea would work and why it would work and why we'd want to revisit these characters in the future. Whereas Tiki has like untapped potential of like tell stories of King Arthur we haven't seen yet. So
basically, Ace needs to watch his footing coming up here. His punches are strong, his defenses are good, but his footing's completely, his footing's he's like noodles out there.
So do you want to know why I was noodles for this round?
Why were you noodles for this round?
I completely misread the question from Tiki when I answered it. I thought it said a remake, not a sequel.
Ooh.
I realized as the debate started when
Jacob
went over
that
the
explains it.
I mean, I said 30 years later, Ace.
I know, but
I think he misread it as like 30. Like let's do another Hercules movie 30 years later.
30 years later, let's do a live action remake.
Oh God.
That's
it's been
right.
20 years. That's the difference. It's been 20 years since Hercules.
Yeah.
And it's been what, like 60 years since Stone, something like that.
All right, well, live and learn.
Sorry about that, Ace.
Now,
No.
Jacob, I believe you have. Okay, I'm sorry. Spaceman has made a hilarious comment. I got to shout out right now because I love this reference. Cue the Curb Enthusiasm music. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, anyway, Jacob, I believe you have an option to pose to these gentlemen here this fine evening. Is that correct?
Yep, and the point does go to Tiki, by the way, if I didn't make that clear.
The point goes to Tiki?
Yes.
Okay, so Tiki has 2, Ace has 1.
All right, gentlemen. You two have fought valiantly this round, these past round, and now it's time to move on to the Pooh coin. Hey,
I don't want to know where it's been.
The Winnie coin, then. It's called Winnie the coin.
I like that. I like that.
The coin. Caustic little devil, that coin. Dun, dun, dun. Anyways.
Okay. To recap what we learned at the beginning of this debate, you two will have the option to choose whether to go or not for an extra point by flipping the coin. If it goes on heads, you get an extra point. If it lands on tails, you will lose a point. Now to be clear, that the coin is not mandatory. You can pass it, or you can keep it. Pass it or take it. It's completely mandatory, and it's completely optional. So
it's completely mandatory.
Yes. Sorry, I got my words jumbled. But no, it's not mandatory. It's completely optional. Tiki, Ace, you're up. You have 1 point. Do you want to take the risk?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? The speed round is where it's at. That's where I saved myself last time, and then threw it all away.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
It's either going to be land of milk and honey, or it's going to be all tails.
Oh, ouch.
2-0. Tiki, do you want to
come back?
All right. Well, at this point, I guess I have nothing to lose. So. Oh crap.
So Tiki has, just to recap, Tiki has 3 points. Ace has a big whopping nada.
And also, just to recap, you need 5 points to win. So
yes.
Okay. So you guys ready for the speed round questions?
Oh man, Ace, I'm sorry, man.
Why? I was thinking of
well.
TV viewership. Gotta keep it interesting.
So if I'm correct here, so if Tiki gets two right, then the game's done, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as I get to 5
Won't happen. Won't happen.
Okay, well, let's hope that's true.
Okay, I'm excited for the speed round. The speed rounds are always fun. So
Speed round could be crazy, folks. Could be absolutely.
All right, all right. Our first speed round question is somewhat of a topical one, not political or anything, but just a topical one. Walt Disney
should
Company
Disney rehire James Gunn? Yes or no?
Oh, come on. Well, I just.
Dragon, Tiki.
All right.
Don't make me take the point away from you.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe could give it to Ace. Ooh.
Don't do that. Come on. What's the fun in that? That would take away the power of the coin.
It'd be delicious, though.
That'd be delicious.
I was just
Respect
kidding.
the power of the coin.
I wasn't being
Name the
serious.
coin, darn it.
I wasn't being serious. You know that.
All right.
Go on, Jacob. What do you got for us?
Okay. Disney is set to acquire Fox and majority of its assets. Which Fox asset, be it a movie or TV series, should receive a ride or attraction at one of Disney's parks?
Alien.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ace has Alien.
And remember, it can be a movie or TV series.
Exactly.
Movie or a TV show. Okay.
And Marvel stuff Marvel stuff owned by Fox does not count.
Wait. Well, that's a pretty big distinction to make.
Well, because it's technically Marvel, not Fox.
All right. I'm just saying that maybe would have been better to say that up front.
Well, that's why I'm saying it now.
Futurama.
Okay, Futurama.
Oh, all right.
All right, Ace, since you went first, you make the first statement. 30-second opening statement. Then Tiki does the same. Then 15-second rebuttal.
All right, easy. Stitch's Great Escape closed, replaced alien extraterrestrial alien encounter. Bring it back with the true alien, like originally wanted by Michael Eisner. We bring back that true effect, true show. Give proper warning. This is a scary show. Bring it full circle back to Tomorrowland 1994. We get that first start of that whole Tomorrowland refurbishment. I don't know what my time is looking like. Oh, I still got way more time. Wow. All right. Yeah. I wasted it checking what time I had.
All right.
Pro tip: just keep talking until you hear the beep.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Can we hear the beep?
I already hit it.
Yeah, we beeped.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear it.
Oh, the round's over.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, Tiki.
All right.
Futurama.
All right. So interestingly, Ace, you and I both chose like kind of more adult-orientated sci-fi properties. The problem with Alien Encounter is it's inherently not Disney, whereas with Futurama, I feel like there's a built-in sense of wonder to Futurama. Futurama had a reverence for Disney stuff. And I feel like with Futurama, you could really kind of pay homage to stuff like Tomorrowland, but really take it in a different direction and have it be stuff that adults could really lean into, but that wouldn't be inappropriate or scare kids away by any means. And Futurama has a huge heart to it.
Okay, time for a 15-second rebuttal.
You talk about how Futurama is a very it could be used for everyone, but I'd still consider that a very adult-based show to go that direction. So I don't know how that would work per se. And with Alien, it's still a very relevant IP with a film coming out 2 years ago or so, whereas Futurama's been gone for a while.
I mean, I feel like Futurama is about as adult-orientated as The Simpsons, which is like not much these days, and it's a very wholesome cartoon, actually. It's got a lot of really heartfelt messages to it, and Alien just scares the crap out of everyone, and especially kids, and it's just not Disney appropriate.
Damn, I forgot to bring up my big point about yours.
Sorry.
We know nothing about your attraction.
What
That's
would
fun.
I was also kind of worried about, like, if you'd bring up, like, so what? Are we just going to do Tomorrowland again?
Well, okay, but following the rules, I'm going to go with what was said in the
Yeah, no, totally.
during the time segments. But honestly, I do agree. Tiki raised a lot of strong points against Alien. I mean, though I'd love to see them actually do the extraterrestrial alien encounter with the actual xenomorph. I mean, that would be. I mean, a lot of kids actually like being scared, but Tiki did raise a good argument. But he did raise a pretty good argument about Futurama, being a very accessible property towards Disney. I mean, basically as an attraction, though he didn't give much. I mean, basically, Ace, you just rehashed an old one while Tiki basically gave an entirely new idea. So honestly, I believe the point would go to Tiki on this one.
Dragon, I'm curious for your thoughts.
Well, I gotta tell you, initially I was won over by the choice of Alien, and I was again. I think Ace started really strongly, but Tiki, he made some really strong points in regards to it being again like The Simpsons become more friendly, the wholesome heart of Futurama, and at the end of the day, the whole fact the Alien is too scary for kids. But again, this is not counting. Again, I want to make clear, not counting how Tiki literally shot himself in the foot with this whole thing entirely when he gave away his weaknesses. But not counting that, my vote would go to Tiki. Space Mountain votes for Aliens, and Monkey votes for Gummy Bears. So.
We should have a Reese's Pieces attraction next. Damn it!
No, but Space Mountain also threw out like a Jack Bauer, MNG, and Fantasyland.
Oh my God! Yes.
Which does sound quite delightful. But again, my 2 cents would go into the Futurama machine.
Fun fact: Kelsey Grammer played my hometown with his dad rock band a couple months ago. I didn't go see it, but I just thought the novelty of that was kind of fun.
Did he say tossed salads and scrambled eggs?
No.
Okay, well, that would have been delightful, but okay. All right, so Jacob, who gets the point, Tiki?
Wait, I said Kelsey Grammer. I meant I'm sorry. I meant frickin' what's his name? Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, yeah, that was complete false hope, Tiki. No way it was related to Kelsey Grammer. My reference is now rendered useless. Thank you.
Yeah, I was wondering about your reference.
I didn't say it. He said Kelsey Grammer.
I know. I said I'm sorry. I get Kelsey Grammer and Kiefer Sutherland mixed up because they're both weird. They're both weird K names. Okay, they're both K names that are weird. All right.
Hi, Pierce. There's all sorts of projects.
Can I just throw in something? Can I just throw in a little side thing here?
Yeah.
Sure, what do you got?
When I first saw this question, the thing I actually wanted to see was Futurama.
Okay.
I mean, because
this is do or die for Ace going forward.
So now,
yep. I was just going for the ultimate comeback,
All right, Dragon, should I go for the final question, or should I just bring in one of the other ones? I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I know a question I really want you to ask.
What is Cedar Point announcing tomorrow?
Wait, is that tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow.
Oh man. Okay.
Jacob, look, you're gonna go with what you feel is right, but if you want my advice, I'd love to hear that summer question that's kind of let's just say far out, and one could say kind of in space. Let's say I like that one.
Okay, I'll go. All right, guys. All right.
That's the one I like, but go with God. Do whatever you want to do.
Okay, guys, this could potentially be for all the marbles, and it'll tie into the original planned theme of this debate, which is going to be summertime. But now it could be but don't necessarily limit it to summer when I ask this. All right?
Okay.
Which Star Wars planet would make the best vacation spot? And keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily just have to be for summer vacation or anything. Imagine which Star Wars planet would you like to go to for a vacation?
The funny thing is, my answer would not be a good vacation planet, but I would. Okay, I'm gonna say. Well, I'm gonna say as kind of an a junkie of archaeology and stuff. I'd love to visit Jakku, but that's not going to be my answer because that's not necessarily a vacation destination. But I just love the idea of exploring old Star Destroyers and shit. I'm gonna go with Naboo.
Okay,
And that's exactly what Space recommended, by the way.
And Ace, which Star Wars planet would you like to go to for vacation?
Kashyyyk.
Ooh,
Kashyyyk.
all right.
Okay.
And
This one could potentially be for all the beans.
I'm sorry. Before we start, I just wanted to shout out some other destinations real quick. Monkey recommends the Death Star, which again, that's no moon and that's no planet. Okay.
Funnily enough, that was actually one of the thoughts I had.
Would visiting the Death Star be the equivalent to like visiting the Empire State Building or something in the Star Wars universe?
Well, if we say Empire like that, then well, it's no. So we have also Spaceman recommends Alderaan as well, which I think it depends on when. But,
or how about Mustafar?
and Mustafar, when like, you know what? I'm tired of comfort. I just want to go Mustafar. Okay,
well, I mean, if this question was going to lean into the summer of it all, I would have said Hoth.
This little ski lodge on Hoth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know,
David Niven Star Wars experience. Little ski lodge, get some brandy, meet some skier chicks. You know.
But as I did say, it didn't actually matter if it was like summer vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a vacation destination.
All right.
It's like it could have been like a summer or winter vacation.
Okay, you guys ready?
All right.
Fun fact is, Seoul actually has a vacation destination, and it's a normal pick that because, well, you know. Okay, anyway, so.
Okay.
Okay, Tiki, your opening statement.
Have you guys seen Attack of the Clones? It's a terrible movie, but my God, do they sell the shit out of Naboo being the ultimate vacation destination. I mean, you've got gondolas like you're in Italy. You've got rolling hills. You've got these like great like ancient cities, and then you've got this whole underwater civilization. And we're not going to mention how annoying they are because it's an underwater civilization. Naboo is literally the vacation destination in the Star Wars universe.
Okay, Ace, convince me on Kashyyyk.
Well, speaking of beautiful places and terrible prequel movies, I went with Kashyyyk. You know, you got that luscious green, all the large trees. You can go in the canopies, you know, walk tree to tree. It's just this beautiful landscape with beautiful, stunning views of the trees, the mountains, the water, the good guess. You know, that's just this entire large, vast greenery landscape that people go to Thailand and places like that here. Why not Kashyyyk?
Because you can get that experience on Earth. That's why not. And if we're going to go with a forest planet, why not go with Endor, which has the teddy bears, versus Kashyyyk, which has the giant freaking Yeti creatures that will rip your arms off.
It's simple. We go with Kashyyyk because we got the beautiful setup infrastructure, you know, all the tree huts with the pathways in between the trees to get that view from up and above like you'd get there that you don't see when you're with the cute little teddy bears, as you would like to call them.
This is a tough one. As you both raised very convincing arguments to which Star Wars vacation destination would be a sensation. So, Dragon, where are you weighing in on this?
Well, real quick, Monkey says the Death Star would be the Emperor's state building. Space Mountain. Naboo has sand, though. I don't like sand.
Oh, wait. That doesn't make any sense because Anakin was talking about not liking sand on Naboo. So clearly it must not be as big of an issue on Naboo.
It's like a sandy beach, essentially, but it's still bringing back really bad memories for Anakin.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
If one went with Mustafar, you could. There's a monkey here. If one of you went with Mustafar, you could argue that you have the high ground, which is a very accurate point. We're getting a lot of Star Wars mileage out here, folks. It's very entertaining. Kashyyyk would be a nice place for a DVC treehouse villa.
That it would. That it would.
Yes.
Because I want this debate to continue, I'm going with Kashyyyk. So again, Space wants things to continue, so it's just food for thought there. Here's the thing. Very simply for me, Tiki, I think, opened with a really excellent point that, we sold the heck out of Naboo in episode 2. And again, I remember this, but like it's been a while since really, again, I try not to think about episode 2 that much. But Tiki brought up, was like, yeah, he's right. We did sell the heck out of Naboo. And there was some stuff that I think Ace really could have easily capitalized on, the whole like undersea side of Naboo that we don't pay attention to. And again, there's also contextually dark things you could, if you really wanted to take some shots, you really could have, if you really wanted to with that, but he didn't. The Endor point, Tiki made that Endor. I think Tiki just kind of shot Ace to pieces in this one. Unfortunately, that's the thing. I think Ace was proud of Kashyyyk, but then Tiki said, "Well, Endor." I think it just kind of ends. I think it just kind of ended that way with. That's just my opinion.
You know what? I tell you guys what. Last round, Ace graciously gave up a point to me, so that we could go into a tiebreaker. So I'm going to graciously give up a point to him. This is the only time I'm going to do this. But since I'm having a lot of fun with the speed round too, and I want it to go on, so I'm going to graciously give up my point to Ace this round.
Oh, so kind.
So it's 4-1.
All right.
Jacob, I do want to hear your feedback, though.
No, like I said, honestly, though, I probably would have gone with Tiki's point as well. I mean, he raised more points as to why Naboo would have been a great vacation spot more than Kashyyyk. Though Ace, you did miss an opportunity that like Wookiees aren't necessarily all volatile. A lot of them can actually be.
The Wookiees take their home planet seriously, though. That's the thing. The Wookiees, it's like I feel like going into the Wookiees' home turf would be like a bunch of pasty white tourists going into like the bad part of Oakland or something.
I mean, you could have made all these points about how homey the Wookiee villas are. I mean, again, we saw like how they, especially around Life Day and how they decorate and such. They welcome others into their homes. Art Carney enthusiasts alike. I mean, again, it's delightful.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Ace, I guess you got a second chance. You got the smelling salts. You gotta get up and am. You gotta lay off the sauce, kiddo. You gotta get in the game here, buddy boy. Okay, like you slap yourself around a little bit. Okay, you're in. Get in that space. Press the coin against your ear, buddy boy. You got this.
All right, so Dragon. Now should I go with the one we discussed?
Yeah, we should. Hit him with it.
Okay, so this is planned to be the last one, as it potentially could be.
Okay.
Here
Potentially.
comes
We're hoping that's not the case, but we want to get it in there just in case.
But yeah. Okay, so what is the worst song by the Sherman Brothers?
Oh my God! Now is the time.
Okay.
Is it from? Should it be? Is it from a Disney movie? Like, what movie is that from?
It's from the Carousel of Progress. It's the song that replaced Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow for a period of time in the Disney World Carousel of Progress.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. One clarification: does it have to be from just Disney movie Sherman Brothers songs, like just Disney Sherman Brothers songs, or any Sherman Brothers song?
I mean, I'd like to keep it Disney, but I suppose you could just like. I didn't really include that in the question, so you can go with any.
I can do just Disney. I just wanted to clarify.
Dragon, do you think it should be limited to Disney or any Sherman Brothers?
Well, I mean, we're sticking Disney with everything else, so we might as well. I mean, let's just stick to Disney. If you have a Disney choice, use it. If not, then we'll open it up. But if you have a Disney choice, just go with Disney.
I will go with I'll go with It's a Small World.
No.
Yeah, because I know how much you love it.
Oh man!
Gotta keep it interesting to make it count.
The gloves just came off, motherfucker.
You know what's funny? I thought I could have sworn we had a Small World question in the last speed round too.
We did, yeah. It was,
you two went up against each other.
Yeah, because it was about the what was it? What attraction would people lose it about if it just suddenly closed yesterday or closed tomorrow?
No. It was specifically the Thanos snap.
Oh yeah.
It was like, which one dramatically would be the most interesting disappearance? Like which one? Like,
and I still think Small World would be like World Peace is dead now.
Oh, so folks, just for the folks at home tuning in here, Ace has been playing the long con. He's been saving up this.
Yeah, that's the whole reason.
Oh, I
came
am
there.
physically mad at you for picking Small World. I
Well,
really
Space
am.
Mountain. He's putting the comments here. 2 boxing gloves, kind of Tuco Salamanca-esque boxing gloves in the comments section. Which means the glove are on.
All right.
But are the gloves on or the gloves off?
I'm saying they're there, so which means they're
Yes,
on.
I'm like jumping up and down, ready to get to this. Let's
Are
go.
you ready, boy?
Let's go.
You ready?
All right, T, your opening statement for whatever the song's name is.
Now is the time.
I've never heard the song before, so go right ahead.
Okay, can I just like sing a refrain of the chorus just so you guys get the chorus?
All right, fine. Well, Jacob, it's your call.
Yeah, sure. Just keep it keep it in like 10 seconds.
I'll literally sing the chorus. The chorus just goes, "Now is the time. Now is the best time. Now is the best time of your life." All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Proceed with your opening statement.
Okay. Now is the Time is the song that the Sherman Brothers were forced to replace Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, which is one of their personal favorite songs that they ever wrote for Walt. And this is one that Richard Sherman to this day is ashamed of. It's a corporate shill. It replaced one of the most iconic theme park attraction songs of all time. Most importantly, it replaced a song that defined the attraction, and it was just a slap in the face. And Small World defines that goddamn attraction. Say what you will, but Small World's iconic.
Okay, Ace, time for you to bring the fire.
You all right? It's simple. It's the worst Sherman Brothers song for a couple things here. One, that song, overplayed. You know, it overplayed everywhere, not just at the park, which I mean it has to be, but I mean you hear that everywhere. You can't escape that song, and it's the song's doesn't bring you the world peace. It's the attraction. So why are they playing this happy song? Get it out of here. It's unnecessary. It's overplayed. You know, it's super outdated. It's just.
It's not outdated. It's timeless. It's the lyrics to that song. It's literally a prayer for peace. The reason why it's overplayed is that it's so perfect. It is such a perfect song. It is a quintessential Disney song. You want to talk about finger snaps? Finger snap that song out of existence.
I'm gonna take you in a little bit over, so I'm gonna give Ace a bit like 2 more seconds.
Okay, 17 seconds. That's fine.
You talk about how the best time of your life is the worst Disney song or worst Sherman Brothers song, but you mentioned it yourself. It wasn't even their choice. It was a song they were forced to make. So can you really hold that against them? It's not their song per se as much as it's Disney World song or Walt Disney Imagineering song. They were just the ones that were brought in to make it.
Can I get 3 seconds?
That's not how it works.
No, I'm saying you went up to like 20 seconds and I got like 17 seconds.
Okay, 3 more seconds for Tiki.
All right. They still wrote it, damn it. I mean, that's the question. Okay, there. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, that's a good 3 seconds. I'll give you that.
If anything, I'm fair.
All right, we did have some response here, real quick. Monkey has stated, indeed, best time of your life goes against the theme of Carousel of Progress.
It does.
Yeah, not a point raised by either of our guys here, but just the point nonetheless. And Space agrees. That is a good point.
I mean, you did give the wrong name of the song at first, but that's.
I'm just reading that as it is here. You know.
No, I mean Tiki. He said it was Now Is the Time. It's best time of your life.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the title was Now Is the Time. My bad.
Disappointed. Come on.
Disappointed.
It would have been interesting if I would have made you guys just switch your answers around.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
But I'm not dragging.
Hey.
I know. I'm just kidding. But honestly, I would say that Tiki did again. Tiki brought the best argument to the table for like. Though honestly, I'm not a bit. Though honestly, I do agree that the song is a bit overplayed. Tiki did bring up the reason as to why. Like, especially when it was made, and even going forward, it does have a timeless, very good, very well received message of peace. And though being iconic doesn't necessarily make something good, he did bring up good reasons as to why the pick he chose is the worst, like for both personal reasons and for various others. So, Tiki wins.
All right, Dragon. What's your feedback, Dragon?
My feedback, quite simply, is Ace. I think Ace had the wind knocked out of him, but he had like that final punch as he was falling down. It was a good punch. He got Tiki right in the. Basically, it's like a punch in the solar plexus that makes you think about life. That's kind of like the punch that he hit him while he was falling towards the ground. It was like a slow motion, like a life kind of dawned on him in the moment as he was falling to the mat. And as that was happening, I think Ace hit him with the fact that, can you hold a forced song against the Tremors? That was a very interesting thought. And as he was falling down, then Tiki just kind of
I was like, I need my 3 seconds, please.
Basically, like as he fell down, looking up, like, can I still win? Tiki just spit out his mouthpiece and he said, "No." And that said, again, it's a kind of a colorful metaphor here. I would side with Tiki on this one.
Okay. Oh man, I'm having so much fun, guys. Even though I technically won this, do you guys want to keep going?
I mean, you have to sacrifice some points to make that happen.
No, I can't. I can only sacrifice 1 point per round.
All right. Let's just continue for the heck of it.
I'm saying, let's do one more. Let's do one. Let's
call it an exhibition bout just for the heck of it.
All right.
Let's see if Ace has like one little fight left in him.
I was holding it all for when it doesn't count anymore.
How many fingers am I holding up, Ace?
Too many.
Close enough. All right. Okay, hit him with the Muppet question, Jacob. Hit him with the Muppet question.
Yeah, every speed round should have a Muppet question.
I know. That's right. Hit him with the Muppet.
The Muppets, I got this.
Okay, I actually have an interesting one for the Muppet question.
Okay.
Which Muppet should get a starring role in a movie? And let me elaborate on this. It's kind of similar to Muppets from Space, but it can't be Kermit, Gonzo, or Walter. Because Kermit's pretty much the main focus of every Muppet movie. Gonzo had Muppets in Space, and Walter had the Muppets from 2011. So convince me, which Muppet should have a starring role in a feature?
Okay, the thing is, there's like a good answer and there's a goofball answer, and I'm tempted to go with the goofball answer.
Well, it's an exhibition bout, so there are no stakes.
Swedish Chef.
Oh, that's what I was thinking, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Sorry.
You could do so much with that. Does it have to be a solo character, or can you do Waldorf and Statler?
Jacob, what do you think?
Well,
I would count Statler and Waldorf as a single entity.
Well, yeah, considering that they're pretty much wouldn't be one without the other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my choice.
They'll allow it.
Now time for the exhibition round where nobody gains anything.
The no prize round.
Yes.
It's for an invisible belt made of thin air.
Stanley's no prize round.
Right.
Yes. Right. Yes. Oh my god, I'm thinking of the Stanley Doctor Doom cover. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so Tiki, convince me why the Swedish Chef should have his own solo movie.
Okay. So you know that cutaway gag in Muppets Most Wanted where we see the Seventh Seal parody with the Swedish Chef, and we see the whole I don't think people watch subtitle films. Let's do a whole movie of that, like an hour and a half of goofy ass subtitled bad dubbing madness. We're talking this would be like the most meta Muppet movie that ever meta'd. It'd be the most crazy art house thing. It'd be way outside the box.
All right, we're going back, and I mean way back. We're getting that Waldorf and Statler origin story. How'd they meet each other? How'd they meet the Muppets? Why do they hate the Muppets? We're getting all of that. We'll get the origin, all of that, the comedy of early Muppets, all of this mess, building the theater with their spot only, the heckling. We'll just get a whole family fun movie of where did these guys come from and why do they hate the Muppets so much?
Okay, this is gonna go against the spirit of the debate, but Ace, I got nothing. That was a fantastic pitch. I need to see that movie now. My God, I have not. I don't even want to contrast that idea. That was wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, where was this vigor during the?
I know the
you
Muppets.
completely KO'd me, man. I literally would feel guilty going against that. That's
The boy
man.
was bleeding, hitting the mat, and then he just.
I am like genuinely like chomping at the bits to see that movie.
I should have used this question instead.
There's two things I know: Muppets and Defunctland, and that's it.
Okay, but just a quick question: who would you guys choose to direct your respective movies?
Oh, Taika Waititi. Because Taika Waititi would be really good for that, like kind of like off the wall, sort of like meta stuff.
I would kind of like to see him direct a Muppet movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a a wise guy in the comments, and that wise guy knows who he is. Made really hilarious comments. A 3-hour tribute to all nations, but mostly America.
Gee, I wonder who that person could be. I gotta say, Sam Eagle definitely was a contender this round for me. It was like Sam Eagle would have been my serious choice, to tell you the truth.
Sam Eagle was my pick if I couldn't do Waldorf and Statler.
No, Ace, goddamn, I want to see that movie now, man. That's fantastic. Like, you're right. Why do they hate the Muppets?
I kind of want to see Sam Eagle discover America now. I gotta tell you.
Who would you choose to direct your movie, Ace?
James Bobbin, who did the 2011 one.
Okay.
I mean, fair enough.
He's
really good. It's just I through the looking glass, I do not take lightly, but I guess that wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry. It just sounds like such a desperate belief. Like, just like James Bobbin can do it, and of course, Tiki just saying, "I'm sure it wasn't his fault." He does not mean that at all.
The Sherman Brothers. It wasn't his fault, but the song's so
Oh, God. Like, seriously, guys, I cannot emphasize. Like, again, I want to just like 45 seconds was not enough time for me to emphasize how much I hate that "Now's the Time" song. That song is bullshit. It really is.
Okay, so should we just end this? Should we just end this the game here? Or
Yeah,
do you guys
that's a good place to end things out.
Or do you guys just want to do like another exhibition round?
No, I think this is a good ending point. Ace got his digs in. He got a KO. I think this is a good place to end things.
And the exhibitionist was actually for everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one.
That's the no prize. It's a double no prize, and you thought it was a no prize, but in reality, it was not a no prize. Therefore, it is the ultimate prize. But no, we're kidding. Actually, Ace has won nothing. So.
Yeah.
he's won some praise and a pat on the back. He's really won.
I should say they gave him 6 points.
Too good.
All right, but seriously, Tiki, you're the winner.
Woo!
Excellent fighting, guys. Fighting today, guys.
Yeah. All right,
We'll have to do another one.
This is
just all around the Muppets, though, because that.
That would be interesting, and
perhaps we should do an all Muppets debate. I would definitely be down for that.
I'd be down for that too.
All right.
If you want to lose.
Ooh.
Bring in the fire.
Now we're to bring in a Survivor reference here. This is getting into some Rob versus Russell territory right here.
Oh,
I'll take you down any day, anywhere. Put me on the season with you. All right.
All right. Well, Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Dragon, for co-hosting this with me.
Anytime.
And thank you all watching for all your valuable input and hilarious comments.
Don't forget to grab your poo sticks.
The billionth board.